go. Okay. What you're looking at here is a map of Israel, right? Everybody recognizes the map of Israel. Okay. This map, okay, that we're looking at here, I can never figure out how to point on this thing. But this map that we're pointing out has an area that is red. Okay, that's red. And that area we call, when I say we, I mean Israel advocates, call this area in Hebrew Yehuda v'Shomron. Okay, give me a second to try to figure out how I point to this. Okay, so let me see if I can get my hand close to it. I don't know. Okay, fine. The top half of it, I'm sorry that I'm like completely incapable of figuring out how to point on this thing. The top half is called the Shomron. The bottom half is called Yehuda. Okay. In English, it's called Judea and Samaria. The world refers to this as the West Bank. Do you see how there's a black line on the by the red line that goes through the Dead Sea below the red, and then goes all the way up to the Galilee, to the Kinneret, right? There's a line there. That line is the Jordan River. Okay. Every river has a bank. It has an east bank and has a west bank on both sides. The west is towards the Mediterranean, towards America. The east is towards Iraq, towards Jordan. Okay. Now, in every other bank, on every other river in the world, the bank is only 50 meters long. 50 meters is about 150 feet. That's it. This is obviously much bigger. The reason why it was called the West Bank was because, and here's where you're going to want to really pay attention. You don't have to take notes yet, but this is where you should really pay attention, is that in 1948, the Israeli forces went to war. We were forced to go to war because all our neighboring countries went to war against us. And the armistice lines where we said, okay, we're going to stop fighting against Jordan, were those lines around the red area. Everything in yellow became Israel. Okay, everybody sees it? Everything in yellow became Israel, except if you see there's a little, this is very frustrating. Okay, this hand goes that way, this hand, okay, here we go. Do you guys see? Oh, perfect. You see where I'm pointing here? You see how there's like a black outlined area? That's Gaza, okay? That area belonged to Egypt, and where my hand is right here, this is the Sinai Desert, okay? So this is the Sinai Desert, and the Egyptians, the Sinai Desert is part of Egypt, took over Gaza, okay? This red area became part of Jordan, okay? Jordan occupied this. It should have been an independent Arab state, but instead it became part of Jordan. And if you look at the top of the map, I have to like turn the opposite way. This is very confusing for me. I'm sorry. If you look, you see at in the top corner there, there's like the Golan Heights that juts into Syria. That was part of Syria. And that's what Israel looked like in 1948 until 1967. No Jew was allowed in the red area, which includes, if you see the area, the yellow that juts into the red, that's Jerusalem, that's Yerushalayim. No Jew was allowed on the eastern side, the red side of Yerushalayim, or in that entire red area. So we're talking about the Kotel, we're talking about Hebron, we're talking about Shiloh, Beit El, Mitzpeh Yericho, where I live. No Jew was allowed in here for 19 years. Jordan did not let any Jews in. So no Jew went to the Kotel. No Jew went to the eastern part, to the old city of Jerusalem. Nobody went there. Everybody following? Okay. So nobody went to those areas. In 1967, in the Six-Day War, we conquered the Sinai Desert. Okay. So right here, the Sinai Desert. We conquered Gaza, this area here. We conquered the red area, and we conquered the Golan Heights. Now, this is where it's going to sound strange to you, but when you conquer land, according to international law, you're not allowed to keep it. We'll explain the reasoning for that, but you're not allowed to keep the land. So Israel technically has to give it back. Now look at the blue boxes here, okay, behind me. The first one says that Israel's controlled the red area since 1967. Okay, so we've had control of this area. Now we never made it, Israel never made the red area part of Israel. So I live in the red area, okay? I don't live in the state of Israel. I don't live in the state of Israel according to the United States of America. I don't live in the state of Israel according to the state of Israel. I don't live in the state of Israel according to the United Nations. Nobody that knows what they're talking about thinks that anybody that lives in the red area lives in the state of Israel. We live in disputed territory. It's not part of any country. Okay? Arabs living in the red area are not Israeli citizens. Okay, Arabs that live in the red area are not Israeli citizens, and they identify as Palestinians. That's what a Palestinian is an Arab that lives in the red area. Jews living in the red area, okay, are Israeli citizens. It says. Okay, so Jews like me who live in the red area are Israeli citizens. Now for the last point here. Israel and the United States consider it legal for Israel to control and live in the red area. Okay, they consider that perfectly legal. The international community does not think so. Okay,